this is going to be offensive, okay? But I think it's important that, like I said, we know the truth. You know, probably 10, 12 years ago, I didn't really think about it as much as I do now. But as woke as we have become as a society, I think that, you know, you just kind of got to, hey, trigger warning, okay? Trigger warning, all right? So you look at this picture. This picture ran in Life magazine in 1943, I believe. You see a woman sitting there, dressed kind of professionally, right? Maybe she's taking notes for a class or something on the human skull. Okay, this is what the picture said, or the what do you say the picture thing is? The caption. Thank you. Okay, read that. Guys, this was not uncommon. Okay, our government allowed soldiers to do this. I described, you know, showed you video of what it was like fighting in the Pacific against the Japanese. And with the few number of Japanese that surrendered, you know, we had to, it was going to be tough. And so we wanted to give our soldiers a little bit of a release. All right. But at the same time, guys, any of you guys hunt? Okay. You ever shot a deer? Anybody in here ever shot a deer? Okay, I haven't either. Okay. Are you guys okay with deer hunting? I mean, because you got to kind of keep the population control down. You know, there's plenty of deer. They're not endangered or anything. And if you're eating the food, right? I mean, there's not really, I don't know. Some people might have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. I've just never had time to be a hunter. I'm too busy with baseball. So I don't go to the lake in the summer because I don't have time, because there's always baseball or softball, right? So I've just never been a hunter. Guys, now killing a deer to eat the deer for food, for nourishment and so forth, I think most people don't have a problem with. Now, if you were a hunter and let's say I put 500 deer in Bishop Carroll Family Stadium and I gave you 500 bullets and I told you to shoot all 500 of those deer in the head, would you want to do that? I wouldn't want to do that. There's no way. I mean, that would make me sick. You know what I mean? When you're having to kill the enemy like this, our government is going to try and make the Japanese and the Germans seem less than human. If they are portrayed as less than human, then it's easier to kill them. Does that make sense? And so American propaganda here is going to portray. Now, I have American propaganda in here. We got Rosie the Riveter up there, right? We've got these other posters that are World War II posters up here. Now, what I'm about to show you is a bunch of World War II posters that I would not really be able to put in my classroom. Okay? But it is part of the propaganda that helps the American people and our soldiers cope with this war. Okay? It may not be right, but it is history. It is what we did. Okay? So these types of, posters are going to portray the Japanese as like rats here, okay? And then as ape-like as well in other pictures and so forth, okay? Now the Japanese will do the same with us. Okay, I'll show you some Japanese propaganda at the end. Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody did. Yeah.
That's what they spelled Tokyo.
No. I don't think so. You guys remember the Doolittle Raiders? This is a headline when they were executed, our flight crews that they captured. A lot of times you'll see the use of women, children, and some of this propaganda as well. We'll get some German in here as well. This one makes reference to the Bataan Death March. Oh, well, okay. I thought I put some this. I had some Japanese propaganda. That I found at the World War II Museum. All right, you guys are gonna have to be patient with me for a minute. I'm just gonna shut down my computer.
Good. You got time.
Yeah. But as you can see, guys, that's not something we would allow today. In fact, we had some soldiers that in Afghanistan that were court-martialed. I'll tell you that story here in a sec. I got a bunch of crap to close. Starting over from scratch. Tons of Word documents open. Hopefully this will do the trick. And how do I restart? Control-Alt-Delete. No.
Make your computer easier to use.
Restart. Okay. So guys, in Afghanistan, this is about 8 or 9 years ago, there were some of our troops that were ambushed by the Taliban, and they killed some of our guys. You know what I mean? Like they killed some Americans. And so they went out, they went out and found these guys, went after them, the ones that had ambushed us. And they ended up killing some of these Taliban. Well, some of our soldiers had just lost some of their buddies. You know what I mean? Like they were pissed. They got ambushed, killed some of their buddies. They went out and got these guys, killed them. Well, like 3 of our guys, because obviously they were upset, they just, they pissed on the dead bodies of the Taliban soldiers. Okay. The problem is they videoed it. And then that video leaked out. Now, they were court-martialed. They all lost their military career. They were all kicked out. Okay. Now, you think in World War II they would have been court-martialed for that? No. Okay. Look, war is awful, and the behavior of troops during war is important. Okay, and I've told you about different examples of misbehavior by the Japanese troops against Americans and German troops against Americans as far as prisoners of war. Not horrible. American treatment of prisoners of war was pretty good. But when we get to like Vietnam, okay, some of our troops didn't behave very well in Vietnam. Okay, and so, you know, things change. Okay, but you would definitely not see that type of propaganda today, say like on the war on terror. You're not going to see a bunch of like degrading Muslim propaganda posters today, if you know what I mean. In fact, you know, the military in some ways has become this. See if I can get to this. Okay. Sorry, these computer issues here. All right, I know where to look. Docs and presentations, Holocaust, and it's going to open. Good. Made it. Come on. Okay, good. What? Okay. All right, so guys, I kind of talked about a few things during the war when it came to the Holocaust. This map here shows you, these are concentration camps, these upside down triangles, okay? Side camps, the little circles, and then the Star of David here in yellow are the extermination camps, okay? And I think I had a homework question that some of you guys did on what's the difference between a concentration camp and extermination camp, okay? Well, one thing geographically, guys, all of these extermination camps were in Poland, okay? So they have the names Auschwitz, which you guys have heard of, Belzec, Majdanek, Sobibor, Treblinka, okay, and Trosniak, which I have on another slide. I'll show you that. Okay, and then these are concentration camps, many found in Germany. So if you ever go on a tour group or something like that to Germany, generally people will go visit Dachau. Okay, and that's they've kind of kept it. They've kept it as a museum. It's very sobering to go to. They left. There were rows of housing, you know, like barracks, and they kept one. I mean, they had to tear them down because, I mean, they were just infested. But they rebuilt one, and you can see the concrete slabs where the others were. And then they have chapels in there, Catholic chapel, Protestant chapel, and a Jewish synagogue in there as well, where, you know, like you can go light a candle, and, you know, it's just, mean, I hate to see this as a tourist attraction, you know what I mean? But people need to see it, you know? And so I feel like if you get a chance to do that, it's a good idea, okay? I know, like, our troops, when they came through here, and Buchenwald was one, where we get there and the Germans have all fled, the Nazis have all fled, so it's just the Jews there, and you know they're starving to death, the illnesses and so forth. So I mean, our troops were not really prepared for this when we went in. I mean, it was shocking, and we have quite a bit of video and photographic evidence of this. So those people that deny, you know, the Holocaust, it's insane that people deny it. But there are people that do, which to me is disgusting. Okay, again, this shows you the different camps here. Okay, so listen, there's only about 250,000 Jews in Germany at the beginning. Okay, so you have more than I think it's 6 million Jews, somewhere around that, living in Poland. Okay, and you have a lot of Jews living in Russia, and you have a lot of Jews living up here in these countries as well, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Okay, you've got Jews living in Austria, you've got Jews living in Slovakia, Czechoslovakia at the time, Hungary, and so forth. Okay, so it is there where the Jews are encountered that the Germans will develop, eventually Hitler will develop what's called the final solution. Guys, originally, what they said about the Jews, the Nazis, was we just want them to leave. We want them to leave Europe. Okay, and so at the very beginning in Germany, he was trying to get them to leave. And if you left early enough, you were able to take with you, like your bank account, your belongings, and so forth. But as time went on, they made it more and more difficult for you to leave. Okay, so at one point they said, okay, you can leave, but you can only take with you 10 German marks. Okay, and then they start to take away their citizenship and so forth. So the Holocaust and what happens to the Jews is something that evolves over time. Okay, the final solution to exterminate all European Jews was not until like probably 1944. Okay, so it evolves over time.
So why did they hold them in concentration camps instead of like?
Well, so they had different types. So you had healthy people that could work, you know, like free labor. Okay, and if you ever watched the movie Schindler's List, you guys seen that? Oh my. Okay. All right. Well, hey, look, if you want to know about the Holocaust and get kind of a good view of what it was like to be Jewish in Germany, you should watch Schindler's List. Okay. It won like 7 Academy Awards. It was done by Steven Spielberg. Okay. And what happened with the Jews in Germany is, first, like I said, they wanted them to leave. And look, people, this was their home. They didn't want to leave, many of them. And so eventually they would be sent to concentration camps. They would lose their citizenship. There's a whole process. These are all just kind of the same thing.
They just put them on forced marches towards the enemy camps. That way they didn't have to take care of them.
Well, look, Germany was not really at war within their country until after 1940. I mean, we didn't, like, Germany was fine. If you lived in Germany, you didn't have, the war didn't really touch you till like 42 when the British started bombing, okay? And then the U.S. gets in later in 42, we start bombing. But other than that, Germany's not really, they're untouched, okay? And so that's when the persecution of the Jews from the 30s into the 40s begins and continues. Yeah.
My question was, why didn't they just send the Jews towards people that they wanted to either conquer or just get rid of? Basically use them as an
Man, I don't know. I don't know why they did it.
And
Didn't
then
do
we get rid of them too.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let me just, this goes back to 1935, okay? It's something called the Nuremberg Laws. Okay, so how do you know if you're Jewish? So first, again, this is all about blood. Okay, what blood you have in you. Okay, Hitler talked a lot about German blood. Okay, so this lays out, which is creepy to begin with, because it lays out, you know, whether you're Jewish or not. Okay, so the Reich Citizen Law of September 15, 1935 has adopted by unanimous vote, okay? A citizen of the Reich may only be one who is of German or of kindred blood and who through his behavior shows that is both desirous and personally fit to serve loyally to the German people in the Reich. The right of citizenship obtained by the grant of Reich citizenship papers. Only the citizen of the Reich may enjoy full political rights in conscience with the provisions of the laws. The Reich Minister of the Interior, in conjunction with Deputy of the Führer, will issue required legal administrative decrees. The Germans were very good at record keeping, okay? And so they kept records of all these people that were citizens. Everybody had papers and so forth, okay? Until further provisions concerning citizens, all subjects of Germans' kindred blood who possess the right to vote in elections when citizen law came into effect shall, for the present, possess the rights of Reich citizens. The same shall be true of those upon which the Reich Minister of the Interior, in conjunction with Deputy of the Führer, shall confer citizenship. Okay, down here, provisions Article 1 shall apply also to subjects who are of mixed Jewish blood. An individual mixed Jewish blood is one who is descended from one or two grandparents who racially were full Jews, insofar that it is not a Jew according to Section 2 of Article 5. Full-blooded Jewish grandparents are those who belong to the Jewish religious communities. Only citizens of the Reich, as bearers of full political rights, can exercise the right to vote. Only citizens of the Reich have these powers. Okay, a Jew cannot be a citizen of the Reich. He cannot exercise the right to vote. He cannot hold public office. Jewish officials will be retired December 31st, 1935. So anybody that was serving in the government. Article 5 says this: a Jew is an individual who is a descendant from at least 3 grandparents who were racially full Jews. A Jew is also an individual who is descended from 2 full Jewish grandparents if he was a member of the Jewish Religious Committee when this law is issued, or joined the community later. When the law is issued, he is married to a person who is a Jew or is subsequently married to a Jew. He is issued from a marriage with a Jew in the sense of Section 1, which is contracted thereafter coming into effect the law for the protection of German blood in honor of September 17, 1935. He is the issue of extramarital relationship with a Jew in the sense of Section 1 and was born out of wedlock July 31st, 1936. Okay, so this describes who is a Jew. So if you're Jewish at this point, you're going to start losing your citizenship. If you work for the government, you're going to lose your job. You cannot run for office. All Jews were told to wear bands that showed they were Jewish and mark their places of business as being Jewish-owned businesses. Doctors, bookstores, lawyers, they had to identify themselves as Jewish. Okay, so they're trying to get them to leave. They're trying to, take away their citizenship, trying to get them to leave. Those that don't, okay, insofar in the laws of the Reich decrees the National Socialist German Worker Party and its affiliates certain requirements for the purity of German blood, which extend beyond Article 5, and the same remain untouched. Article 7, the Führer and the Chancellor of the Reich is empowered to release anyone from the provisions of this administrative decrees. Okay, it's very bureaucratic. Okay, these will strip them. Okay, and then November 9th, 1938, some of you might have heard of this, Crystal Night, the Night of Broken Glass. Okay, basically, Hitler's government officials encouraged people to go out and burn and destroy Jewish synagogues and businesses throughout the land. Okay, by 1938, November, you also have the Sudetenland is now in possession of Germany. So we're going to see this throughout Germany on this night of broken glass. This shows all the different cities where Jewish places of worship and Jewish businesses were attacked or destroyed on November 9th, 1939. So you can see this happens in Germany, okay, but also down here in Austria and over here in Czechoslovakia and Poland. Okay. So as things ratchet up, once the Germans start invading, so September 1st, 1939, Germany invades Poland. Okay. And so they will start, because there's so many Jews, guys, that, you know, there are, I mean, they will kill Jews, but there's so many. It's just like the analogy I gave you before. If I put 500 deer in which, you know, Bishop Carroll Family Stadium and tell you to shoot them, this is going to have a negative effect on your psychological state of being. Okay. And so literally German soldiers were going insane, mentally insane, because they had murdered so many human beings. Now, they obviously see the Jews as less than human. Okay. Vermin, basically, is that what they refer to them as, rats or vermin. Okay. And so that makes it a little bit easier, I guess. I don't know. But they have to find more effective ways to kill. Okay. Besides starving them or working them to death or shooting them. Okay. And so these ghettos are used to round them up and put them in a place like the Warsaw Ghetto. This is several city blocks. You guys know the campus of Wichita State, right? So if you double the campus of Wichita State University, that was about the size of the Warsaw Ghetto, okay, with hundreds of thousands of Jews packed in there. All right, and the idea there is to house them there until they figure out how to get rid of them. Now, this is part of the kind of the sick part of this, and this is the development of, and this ties in with eugenics, but also with pseudoscience and some creepy stuff. Okay, so this poster here, I don't know if Shay can read this for us. I don't know if you can read this, Shay. Okay, well, I think I have it over here. The poster reads, 60,000 Reichmarks, okay, like $60,000, is what a person suffering from hereditary defects costs the community during their lifetime. Okay, so this would be somebody like Matthew Dugan, right? Somebody that has Down syndrome or somebody that needs help. You know, they can't function themselves. Okay, that is your money too. Okay, that costs you money when we allow these people to exist. Okay, so now Action T4. Okay, this is a program in Nazi Germany officially between 1939 and 1941, during which the regime of Adolf Hitler systematically killed between 75,000 and 250,000 people with intellectual or physical disabilities. They're using them as guinea pigs. They performed unofficially after 1941, where the killing became less systematic. The code name for T4 was Tiergartenstraße 4, the address of a villa in Berlin, borough of Tiergarten, which was the headquarters for the General Foundation for Welfare and Institutional Care. Okay, now, I told you guys we did this in Winfield State Hospital, right? In the United States, we castrated people that were criminals, that were drug addicts, that had mental disabilities, okay? Forced hysterectomies on women so that they could not reproduce, okay? So we were doing similar things in the United States in the early 20th century, okay? This body operated under the direction of Philip Bohler, the head of Hitler's private chancellor, and Dr. Karl Brandt. These two men are pretty evil. Hitler's personal physician. This building no longer exists, but a plaque is set on the pavement at Tiergarten Straße marks its location. The T4 program developed from Nazi Party's policy of racial hygiene, the belief that the German people needed to be cleansed of racially unsound elements, which included people with disabilities. The program set an important precedence later for the Holocaust of the Jews of Europe. As the historian Ian Kershaw called it, a vital step in the descent of modern barbarism. Okay, so this is where they tested out different ways of killing people, efficient ways for killing people, okay, and doing experiments on things like twins. People with freckles were looked down upon. Obviously, if you were homosexual, you were looked down upon, okay? If you did drugs, you were looked down upon. If you were an alcoholic, you were looked down upon. I mean, every segment of society to racially cleanse and racial hygiene to build, you know, a great human race of people. This is what they're doing, okay? Okay, I didn't mean to click on you. All right, now, so this is what takes place, guys, for the Germans, okay? When they go into Poland, when they go into Russia, when they go into Latvia, Lithuania, when they go into Romania, when they go into Czech, Bulgaria, okay? The German soldiers, the infantry, the ones that are fighting, like I told you the story about what happened in that small town Genoabe outside Warsaw. Their job is to kill enemy troops. This is the group that comes in after the infantry, and it's called the Einsatzgruppen. Okay? These are the ones that are going to find the Jews, round up the Jews, and kill the Jews. Okay? And as I said, the method here is just, you know, basic shooting them. So they would dig mass graves and then line people up and shoot them, and then they would fall into the grave. Okay, this is mid-December 41. The edge of a ditch is the killing site at Ski Beach near Lipja. Okay, one shot in the back of the head, the victims fall into the mass grave. These are all women. Okay, here, members of the Einsatzkommando, okay, mobile killing squad, before shooting a Jewish youth. The boy's murdered family lies in front of him. The men to the left are ethnic Germans aiding the squad. This is in the Soviet Union, July 4th, 1941. Okay. I have some notes on these. Okay, this is the Ukrainian town of Lubny. Over 1,000 Jews are ordered to assemble for resettlement in an open field before they were massacred by the Einsatzgruppen. This is October of 1941. Okay, so like I said, most of the Jewish population is in Western Russia and Poland. And so the Einsatzgruppen tried different things. So you guys know carbon monoxide poisoning, right? So that was used, you know, you bring in a truck, like a semi-truck, and you pack Jews in there, and then you kill them with carbon monoxide. They tried other different types of poisons, gases, and so forth as well in mobile killing units, okay? And then they eventually built the extermination camps, where they would actually have railroads that would lead into the camps where they could bring in thousands of people in rail cars, okay? And it would just make it more efficient, okay? And you have the gas chambers. I think it looks like I had some videos here that I can probably show you, okay? So that's the final solution, is to exterminate all European Jews, okay? And then this picture is Auschwitz, okay? And then you can just see a mass grave here, okay? Now, at some of these places, they used furnaces where they would burn the bodies. At some places, they would just have piles of bodies and then burn the bodies all together. Okay, so like if you go to Dachau, you can see the furnaces, okay, where they just would burn the human remains. Yeah.
Have people attempted to like dig up these mass graves and ID those?
Not that I'm aware of.
I know how.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're all, yeah, it's all like this is, it's, you know what we did when we went to Buchenwald and we liberated that concentration camp? We made the citizens of the town of Buchenwald come in and bury the bodies. We made the German people come in and do that because this was happening under their noses. You know what I mean? They were sitting comfortably over in their houses over here. Now they could smell it. They could smell the camp. You know what I mean? And they pretend like, well, we didn't know what they were doing in these camps. Okay, we made the people come in and watch and help. Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, guys, there's a ton, yeah, obviously, ton of stuff you can watch. Some of you guys see movies like The Boy in Striped Pajamas. Okay. I would really recommend seeing Schindler's List. It's based on a true story. It's about 3 hours long. But I just wanted to kind of fill you in, you know, on you know, how that went down. It evolved over time. And in the end, over 6 million Jews. I have a website here with statistics that is pretty shocking. I don't really wish I have time. Yeah, let me just throw this up here real quick, guys. Check this out. Okay, so Jewish population of Poland was 3.3 million. 3 million were killed. Okay, Russia 3 million. Over 1 million were killed. Okay, so Germany, I said a population of 556,000. About 200,000 of the Jews in Germany were killed. Okay, France was not very friendly to the Jews. Okay, there's a movie called Sarah's Key, or book Sarah's Key. Anybody read that? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Have a good one.
Yep. Study up. Read through the notes.
Thanks, Mr. Ebrard.
Yes.
That's like a two-paper question.
Yeah.
Is it double spaced?
Yeah. Double space.
Okay, how much, like, what do you want to start with?
About how you felt about the project, how it went, you know, what you got from it.
Okay.
I'm interviewing
Mine's
Henry. What do you want me to focus on?
Henry
Yeah.
Wayne.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like I asked him like some stuff about like what he feels about the tension between China and like
Yeah, that's good.
infiltration, spying, and then also about just like his experience coming in.
Yeah, and then future plans, you know, what he wants to do, when they go back to China, you know, how he feels about the government. Might ask him about how he feels about the Uyghurs, the ones that are being, that group of people that's being.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So my uncle, he doesn't speak English fluently, but he doesn't like do it like that well. Like there's maybe some words he can try to describe. Is it okay? Because
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah,
like it's part of it.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, for sure.